Eva Medilek here. I am so excited about the session today. I get to interview an amazing person, Lisa Kalmin. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Lisa and why I've invited her to just pour into me, pour into you, and deliver some content and value that I feel is going to really help you optimize your personal and professional lives. Now, for the last 38 years, Lisa has coached and trained over 50,000 people. All right, I'm going to say that again. 50,000 people in the principles and techniques to transform their lives. I first heard of Lisa during a transformational leadership program that I was a coach in after I had been through it before through another company. And I had heard so much about her. I didn't get the privilege of working with her or under her during that time, but boy, the feedback that she got for how she transforms people's lives is amazing. But by realizing that the problem is how we see the problem, her students have created wealth, they've healed their bodies, they found true love, ooh la la, and
Yeah.
most of all, experience true joy and freedom. So join me in welcoming Lisa Kalman. Hello, my dear.
Hello, darling. It's so nice to be with you. Well,
Yeah, I'm
it's funny
super
because,
excited. Mhm.
yeah, I had heard your name and your amazing reputation so much as well. So I'm so happy that over the years we've connected a few times. It's been,
Yeah, no, that's been amazing. I realized I wasn't even connected to you on LinkedIn. I was like, how is this possible?
I
So
know.
I know you and I have talked. I'm like, where is this going wrong?
Right.
But one of the reasons why I invited you here is, I saw through social media channels that you were doing a money course, and
Mhm.
I know a lot of us have issues with money, the energy of money, blocking money, attracting money, receiving money, having money flow, like all things
Asking for money.
asking for money, earning money, raising our fees, lowering our fees, like the gamut around money. And it's something not only I struggle with, but a lot of people struggle with. And so I'm just going to start by asking you, what is it about money that
Yeah.
has us all struggle one way or another?
Yeah, great question. Well, let me just quickly tell you how I got into that. Like I had
Okay.
been doing what is now known as mindset work. Many years ago, it wasn't known as that. It was leadership and transformation. And really, it's about how we look at the world. So my work over the last 38 years has been having people uncover how are they looking at the world? What were the beliefs and assumptions that they made early on in their life that have influenced their life for, decades. Well, I've been doing that for a long time, and that's very powerful. As you know, you've done that work, and it's very transformative. And actually, through about 10 years ago, I started to notice that my experience with money was inconsistent. So I would have these times in my life where I'd be like abundant, money would flow. Look, I'm a hard worker. That wasn't changing. So the money would flow and come in. And then there'd be times I'd be working just as hard with just as much dedication and commitment. And my experience was scarcity or money wouldn't flow. And I'm like, what is going on? And so all I did was take what I had known for, my whole transformational work and use it with money. So, we do a broad brush in most of the trainings I train, and it's not broad in the sense that it's not deep, it's very deep. But I took a deep dive into money. And so that's really how I got here. And money very much, and I relate it to the other thing in my experience that has as much charge and sort of almost like hidden, secret, shame, blame, guilt stuff is sex. Like we have so much energy on that. And so money has, and before you were born, before I was born, we were born into a culture that, first of all, it's born in scarcity. we think there's not enough. That's why we got to get more stuff and hold on to our stuff and try to save and this and that. And then there's just so much energy around money, talking about money, asking for money, like it has become this sort of charged deal. And so I just dove right into that. That's really like it's nobody's fault. Like whatever stuff you have about money, most likely you came to it in a very innocent way, like through your upbringing, through the culture, through what was downloaded, like that. And that's what I want.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, and that weighs heavily on how we show up in life anyway, is the environment.
Yeah.
There there's nurture versus nature, but yeah, what are those early life influences around money? You and I were talking the other day how we both grew up with depression era parents.
Yes.
My mom and her mom even have a tendency to hoard and save because there was real scarcity. My mom grew up in a family of 9 children, so everybody had to get what they could get when they could get it. And something my daughter said to me the other day when I was in Europe, and she was looking for something, and I told her, go in this drawer in my bedroom, the second drawer, all of this stuff. And as she opened the drawer, she goes, this is giving grandma energy, mom. This drawer is a mess. And I'm like, I was like, yeah, but I hide the hoarding.
Yeah, and I know hoarding, right?
I hide
That's
my
so
hoarding.
funny. Yeah.
I've got several junk drawers. So, what are some of what did you discover when you started
Well,
diving deeper into money?
great, great. Yeah, because I was going to say, let me first say what I really got clear about is money has changed over centuries. So, for example, hundreds of years ago, the exchange of value we thought of as money was things like or what beads or furs or pelts or spices or coffee or tea, something like that. And then a few hundred years ago, it was coin. Like you hear people, I read these historical fiction novels about, well, pay some coin, and it's bronze or copper or silver or gold, whatever it is. And then it was this stuff called cash, this paper stuff that I still love, actually. I still love cash. And then our parents, and maybe you still do it, I do a couple times a month, use a check, this thing called a check, write a check. People under 30 don't ever use checks.
I know they don't
Uh,
even know what they are.
there you go, they are. And then these little plastic things called credit cards and then debit cards. And now here's what we do.
The phone, yeah, the
We
QR
just tap our phone.
tap, yeah.
Yeah. And it actually in my Whole Foods market, I live in Southern California, you can literally, there's a device where you can literally put your palm on the device and it charges your groceries.
I heard that. I
Yeah,
heard
yeah. And
Wow.
Amazon Prime has this thing where you can go in and take a cart that's wired up with your Amazon account and you just
Mhm.
leave without checking out. And e-currency, if we think about Bitcoin or anything like that, is we never see it. It's not there. So money itself has changed. So that's when I looked at, well, what is money? Well, anybody who's done enough diving into, evolution or whatever, everything is energy. Everything is energy. If you take us down to our tiniest, smallest particle, it's just an electron, proton, and neutron bouncing around, I think. Those are the smallest little things. And so money is energy, just like everything is energy. So if money is energy, then there's what I got excited about. It can be attracted and it can flow. If money is energy, it can be attracted and it can flow. So what I realized is we're either attracting the flow of money or we're blocking it because there's actually enough money in the world. Like there's more money, Eva, right now than when we started this 5 minutes ago. Now there's more. Now there's more. So there's enough. It's like, okay. Then I started to look at what are the ways we attract money and what are the ways that we block money. So that's really what I got invested in looking at and what I work with my folks about, my clients.
So it's about the energy of money
Mhm.
and whether we block that energy from our aura, if you will, or we
Mhm.
attract that
Yes.
energy to us. So, how much control do we have over whether we block or attract it?
Well, we have 100% control over our own blocking or attracting. what we don't have control over is the economy or
Right.
all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I looked at key things that get in the way of blocking it because, like all the work I do, once you see the underlying or hidden stops or the hidden blocks to anything, you can actually begin to release them. So there are three places, just if somebody's listening to this really quickly, three places to look where you are probably blocking the flow of money. All of this on the unconscious, subconscious level. So first, as we were talking about, there's the downloaded uh, money conversation or beliefs that culturally they're downloaded. So if you had depression parents or something like that, we'll get to that. But just already existing when we were born is certain assumptions and conversation. And when you hear things like money doesn't grow on trees, well, that was there, but your parents may have said it, but they didn't invent it. It was there. And that is a scarcity context. It is a come from scarcity, there's not enough context, or thought pattern. We've heard the quote, which we know is a misquote, money is the root of all evil. It's actually from the Bible. It's the love of money is
The
the
love of
wrong stuff,
money.
attachment. Yeah. But if I, as a kid, heard that, whether I heard it from my family or not, I don't want to be evil. I don't want to be a bad person. So I'm going to subconsciously block money because I don't want it to be that. Or if anywhere you ever got the message, again, not from your parents or whatever, that rich people are greedy, jerks, dishonest, whatever that is, you don't want to be that. So again, we're going to block it. So there's the whole culture. Religion gets big into that. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff. So then the second place to look is your family of origin. So what were the messages you got from your parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, depending how big your family was or your environment about money? And those messages were both verbal and they were modeled.
Mhm.
And oftentimes what was modeled is actually more influential than what was said. I had a client one time tell me like, "Oh my gosh, my parents never talked about money. But when I went to sleep, they would argue about money." So for her, the message about money was it created conflict. Okay. Or I have a great example. I think we talked about this. My dad, when I was a teenager, this is the 70s. It was, quote, an energy crisis. Again, I don't know how big a crisis it was, but my dad would literally, I would leave a room in our home and he would follow behind me and turn the
Turn
light.
off the lights.
He never said anything. My dad was super sweet. Like he never said anything, but I was like, uh-oh, there must not be enough. Okay. So I would invite people to journal, like what were the messages you got, both verbal and nonverbal, about money from that upbringing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then, yeah,
And also money is to be held on to, saved.
yes,
I
yeah.
think that's, so that you don't run out. You
Yeah, well, oftentimes I'll find people who like one parent was a saver and was tight, and the other one was a
to
spender,
spender.
and then it was all that. It was all that. And then the last place to look is your own experience with money, both as a child and older. So as a child, I've heard people tell me like, well, my dad's business went bankrupt, we lost everything, and that was a big deal. And then I've heard people who, as adults, through bankruptcy or maybe a divorce or whatever, had a negative experience. And all of that starts building so that we start to block it. We start to block it. So
Yeah.
that's one place to look.
Yeah, and it's a lot. I mean, I even see it in coaching, my performance clients, and just when they start to share their upbringing, you can really see
Yeah.
that upbringing is actually sabotaging what they want to move into, their vision for the future. And, having them be aware of that, number one,
Yes.
is huge, to really, like you
Yeah.
said, journal, become aware of what some of the messages that you were receiving, what was modeled for you in
Yeah.
your early life experience, so that you can start recognizing when those blocks come up and
Yeah.
start to change the energy around that. So let's, if you
Yeah.
don't mind, dive into how do we change the energy around those money
Yeah,
blocks
great,
that are
great.
conscious and unconscious within us.
Conscious and unconscious. Let me say one more thing about a place to look for
Oh, okay.
a stop. It's what I call your money thermostat. Now we've heard this analogy. Many coaches have heard this analogy. A thermometer, if you think about a thermometer on the wall, it goes up and down based on the conditions. Okay, a thermostat sets the conditions of the room. So
Hmm.
we have a money thermostat. Now, what I mean by that is a set point. So I'm going to ask everybody who's listening, think about where you have similar patterns in money. So for some people, it's a income set point, like uh, no matter what they do, about the same amount comes in. Then there's a leftover or profit set point, like different amounts of money come in at the beginning of the month, always the same amount left over at the end. Like even when more comes, you end up with the same amount. Also, here's what I saw with myself. We can have a savings set point. Like you get really motivated. I'm going to get my savings up. I'm going to have that emergency fund. And then something breaks. Like you have to spend it on something big, like a water heater or something for your car or something. Or a debt set point. And I don't know how many of you have experienced this where like your debt gets higher, it gets uncomfortable, you bring it down, and then 6 months later, it's like back where it was. So watch your set points because that sets a blueprint for your wealth. So how do you start breaking it up? First of all, noticing the beliefs, the limiting stops, what you got modeled from your family, beginning to be aware of that so that you can catch yourself. So you can catch yourself, you know. Uh, Also, with the set point and the thermostat, I love to just do something super simple, like a quick affirmation. And I like things I can remember. So I say something like, I am so happy and grateful for the blank, 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 for the $100,000 I have in the bank account, for the 3 high-paying clients I'm, uh, attracting this week, for the, X amount of revenue for the month, or whatever it is. Just begin to set a different set point, and don't be attached to how it comes.
Hmm.
Like it could, I remember setting up like a savings one, and it came authentically. It came because my great aunt died, and she was really in her 90s and old, and and eventually was going to happen. But I was like, oh, it came in a different way than I thought. So that's one. Then I'm going to say some things that everybody's heard of, but they actually work if you practice them effectively. One is affirmations. Now, we've all heard about affirmations, and some of us are like, yeah, blah, 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 but an affirmation is speaking something in the future as if it is so.
Mhm.
So I call it being in the future, standing in the future, visioning, whatever you want to say. Now, for those of you, and there's a million things online where you can find great affirmations. Like just look up affirmations for wealth, and they'll be, you'll find a million things. For those of you, because I was a little like this, for those of you who have a bit of like you say an affirmation, but there's a little part of you in the back of your head going, that's not really true yet.
Yeah. The
Maybe,
skepticism. Yeah.
skepticism. Yeah. Yeah. Cognitive dissonance, whatever you want to call it. Instead of saying it in a statement, turn it into what's called a lofty question. I heard this on a platform called Mind Valley. I thought it was so good. Turn it into a lofty question. So instead of saying, I'm so happy and grateful for the $100,000 in my savings account, say something like, why is there always $100,000 in my saving account? Why are there 3 high-paying clients always searching me out to be, to work with me? Why? Because when you say in a question and let be the answer, again, just like an affirmation, God, the universe, however you have that higher power, has to begin to organize to to fulfill it.
Mm.
Has to fulfill.
I've
So
never heard that lofty
yeah,
question before. Now,
yeah.
does it always have to be why?
No, it could be uh I don't, let's see, that's a great question. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, I haven't thought of one that doesn't start with Y, but I'm
You know,
gonna
because the
see.
first thing that popped into my head, and I'll be honest, why is, for me, from my context, I heard a seed of doubt in there. Like, I don't believe, like, why is this happening?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so that's why I was curious about if we could think of another example of a lofty question. I mean, I do affirmation, I got one out of the book Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
I was in a Think and Grow Rich mastermind, so I've been continuing that affirmation
Good,
about
good.
a monetary result by the end of the year. Um, and I love this part of it. It'll come to me in various amounts from time to time during the interim, similar
Hmm.
to what you were saying, like
Yes.
however it comes in, it's going to come in.
Yeah.
But the lofty question, personally, I'm like, I don't want to doubt it. Like, why is this happening to me? It lands differently for me. So I'm
Okay.
thinking what I could say as a lofty question, like, hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Makes me so fortunate. Why am I so, and even why is I so lucky? But I'm gonna look into that on Mind Valley.
Well, and I think, yeah, and I can't remember the speaker who it was. I think the point of that is you don't, and let me add these other two things and then
All
come
right,
back to
perfect.
the vibration of this. The second thing, along with affirmations, is gratitude.
Hmm.
Okay, and gratitude is, we know gratitude works, attitude of gratitude, all that. Now, here's what I experience with gratitude. I've had more than one client tell me, like, yeah, gratitude, yeah, I should. And thankfully they're super honest with me. They're like, yeah, as I'm writing my gratitude list, I'm in sort of, well, I should be honest for. I mean, I should be in gratitude for.
Mm,
I am grateful for my car. I'm grateful for my house, like that. The key to gratitude for me is being completely in authentic, inspired gratefulness, appreciation for what's happening in the moment,
hmm.
in this very moment. So
Hmm.
if you walk out and you have a flat tire in your car, then instead of like it's like, wow, how grateful can I be that I have this flat tire? Or I have a friend who's a transformational leader and she's so great. She's like, something hits the fan and she's like, how does it get any better than this? You know? So, so
Sounds
gratitude.
like Chris Lee a lot. He does
Yeah,
something similar to that. To
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
intrigued. This is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, if you can be in gratitude for what's currently happening and hit that vibration, then
Mm,
that's going to open flow. And same with visioning, and I'll talk about vision boards in a second, but affirmations. If in your affirmation, whether you say it as a statement or some kind of question, you can be in like, like true, like feeling the vibration of it as if it is so. This is what Dr. Joe Dispenza spends so much of his work doing. It's so fabulous. And be in like, if even if it is like, I'm so happy and grateful for the X amount of money in my thing, like you're really in the gratefulness, like, or you're in the appreciation, or you're in the affirmation energy. Like you imagine it, you see it, you feel it, and let your feelings catch up. That's where things start to vibrate at a higher level.
I hear you on that.
Yeah.
I've read The Alchemist several times,
Mhm.
and that's what I got out of that book.
Mhm.
In spite of everything that happened for this, uh, what do they call him, young man, boy, lad, whatever,
Yes.
you know, there was always a way through and a learning lesson of it. And so when I see things like that happen, it really keeps me in the gratitude of what do I get to learn from this?
Right.
To teach
Right.
me, even though it feels uncomfortable at the moment, but like you said, I had the savings and then, the roof leaked and I needed to spend it on that. I'm grateful for that I had the savings to spend it
Yeah.
on that, otherwise,
The
if I
roof.
didn't have it, yeah,
Mhm. And the roof.
exactly,
Right. Right. Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
All right, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. No, 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 that's okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, wait, I was just gonna say something. Oh, I've heard this many times. I didn't come up with this, but the question is, why is this how is this happening for me, not how is
Right.
this happening to me,
Mhm.
et cetera. And then the third is visioning or vision boards. Now, let me speak to your visual people. If you know you're a visual kind of person, vision boards are amazing. whether it's a poster, and there's many that you can do on your phone or online. The power of a vision board, you put pictures up either virtually or on a poster board that you want to have happen that are not like way out there. They're not happening now. And what happens is that visual bypasses your reticular activating system. Now, your reticular activating system is a system we have in our brain. It's the system that keeps us sort of grounded and what's reasonable. I'll say reasonable. Like if you're on a roof and you think, wow, how fun would it be to fly? It would be so fun to fly. Your reticular activating system is the system that keeps you from jumping off the roof and trying to fly. Okay, it's a good
Thank
thing.
goodness. Thank
It
goodness.
also limits what we let in.
Uh,
So when you put a visual up, it bypasses that, and then your consciousness can start to bring it into being or manifest it. There's a great story you may know about John Assaraf, and I think he tells it in the movie The Secret, that he did a vision board many years before he was a successful transformational trainer, very successful trainer, transformational leader. And he put on the vision board a house that he really loved. Well, he becomes very successful, buys his dream home in San Diego. His son is unpacking. He finds this vision board. He says, Dad, what is this? And he looks at it. And on the vision board from years and years before, he's got a picture of the exact house he just bought.
wow.
Didn't even remember that.
Wow.
I have a similar story that many years before my partner and I got pregnant with our twins, I have twin boys that are 15. Okay, here we go. And got exactly teenage. And we had looked around some neighborhoods and houses. We were just out doing something. And we were in a neighborhood we would never have gone to look at houses. Then we get pregnant and we're like, "Oh, we need a bigger place." So we go looking and we're never looking in that neighborhood. And we finally just off the cuff go look in that neighborhood. Well, we end up buying a house that I had put on my vision board, a model from the brochure of the exact house we ended up buying. So this works. If you're super auditory, let me just say this. You're like, oh, I'm not very good visual, but I'm great with auditory. It's only like 8% of our population. Take your phone, write out your vision, like as if it's so, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is. Write it out, speak it with feeling into your voice memo or voice notes, and then listen to it all the time.
Mhm.
Okay, do it that way.
Yeah.
Do it that
Yeah.
way.
So
Yeah,
there's something for everybody and how we can make this work and change the energy and the vibration around them.
yeah. But you got to be aware of what the stops are so you can start to like sort of uproot them. It's not like be a constant gardener about your
Yeah.
rooted beliefs, and then start to affirm, see, appreciate, and live in the vibration and experience of what you want.
How did this work for you personally?
Well, it's a vast. One of the reasons I love doing my course that I do is that every time I do, I I throw myself into the practices that I'm teaching, and money ends up flowing in at a different level.
Wow.
So I think the biggest thing that it did was have me know that at any point in time, I am enough and capable of generating a flow.
There you go.
Yeah,
There
that
you go.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this has been amazing. And, it's really simple and practical. I did have a client the other day that had trouble actually believing in kind of manifestation and believing things like
Mhm.
that. What do you say to the skeptics?
Well, I depends on where authentically depends on where they're open from. Like I
Mm,
try to find the opening.
the
If
opening.
they're open, let me say it this way. If people are very connected to God and source that way, then I'll work through it that way
Right,
because I mean, how many miracles are there in the Bible? You know,
right, right.
yeah. If not so much, I'll work through it through science. Literally quantum physics
Mhm.
has proven that uh, as the observer of what happens, we change reality. There's
Mm,
if for those of you interested in this, there's a very simple, go on YouTube and look up the double slit experiment.
okay.
Like this, I think Dr. Quantum is a YouTuber who's made it kind of simple, but very simply that exercise or that experiment took particles, and depending on who was looking at them, the particles changed their movement.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm
so
gonna look that up. I wrote it down. Double
yeah,
slit
that
experiment.
was the experiment. And then well, quantum physics and all of that, and thoughts become things, Look,
Yeah.
we're always generating. We're
What you
generating thought.
focus on grows.
That's
Very
right.
simple, right?
Like again, Napoleon Hill knew this
Yeah,
decades ago.
right.
So we manifest through our thoughts, we manifest through our speaking, through our being, like the energy we bring, and through our actions. And actions, even though in the Western culture, pretty much all over the world right now, we think action is the most influential to what we generate. It's not so much. The
It's
other
what
ones,
we tell our brain. Our brain believes it.
yeah.
No,
Well,
that's why self-talk is so important. I didn't realize that until, something I always said in jest actually, came
Yeah,
true in my own personal life.
yeah,
Because I was all about the negative self-talk and deprecating humor and
yeah.
all that.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no good. That's no
Yeah,
good.
that's no good. Yeah, and I catch myself more now, but this has been very, very helpful, Lisa.
Right,
Thank you
right.
so, so much for being willing to pour into all of us
You bet.
that are dealing with or worried about or with the way the economy is. A lot of
Yeah,
people have lost their jobs and are finding it difficult to replace that income. And so I think really having this talk about money and opening up the channels and the energy so that it can flow is very timely and very helpful.
good,
So
good.
thank you.
Well, I think since COVID and beyond, I think it's going to continue. The the roller coaster ride of the economy isn't changing.
No, it's
The
not.
thing we have power over is how we relate to it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have a gift for your people. It's a mindset quiz. And, especially people that are higher achieving, it's great because they may actually be doing okay money wise, but there's still some stops in there. So the quiz, if you answer it honestly, and that's really
Mhm, mhm.
is going to give you insight and sort of a snapshot of where your money story is right now, your money blueprint. And then you can look at kind of, are you a money manifestor? Are you a money manager? Where do you fall in that? And it puts you in
Oh,
kind
it's very cool. Very
of,
cool.
yeah, yeah,
So I'll put the link in the description of the show notes.
right.
Is it easy to get to? What is
Yeah, yeah. It's a quick link, and then you go right to the quiz, and that's
yeah.
it.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for this. And
Welcome.
everyone, take advantage of the quiz so that you know where you're at, you know where your growth opportunities are, where you have to work on, because we all need to be abundant. The more abundant we are, the more people we can help, the better we can serve ourselves and others and each other. And, this has been really, really juicy stuff because, much like you shared, Lisa, I have my ebbs and flows, have a great year, then have a year that's not so great. And
Mhm.
what was different
Great.
about it for me? So I'm excited to take your quiz.
Good,
And
good. I love
thank
that.
you for offering it to us. And everyone, I will see you next time. Thank you so much for joining. Bye now.